everyone, welcome back to my channel. This will be the second installment of my MAC Honor of Kings collaboration review. So the palette that we will be using for today is MAC's small eyeshadow palette in Liang. Liang as in ZHU GE Liang. In the game, he is nicknamed the Chancellor, and ZHU GE Liang is an actual historical figure who was a politician. Fun fact, well actually it's not fun at all, but one of my grandpa's younger brothers, we call him grandpa number 3. What's the official term for your grandpa's brother anyway? Great uncle or something? Because I would think that great uncle would mean your great grandfather's brother, so wouldn't it just be your grand uncle? I don't know. I think it's great uncle though. But anyway, my grandpa had 7 brothers, you guys. All boys, 8 brothers in total. This was back in the day when, you know, unless you were part of the aristocratic elite, you had to basically have as many kids as possible to help keep your family afloat. It was hard times. So yeah, one of my grandpa's brothers, who was the 3rd oldest of the lot, that's why we call him grandpa number 3, he was a politician, just like Liang right here. And he actually ended up being in prison for 7 years. So he was a prisoner basically of the Mao regime. I met him once a couple of years ago when I went back to visit my dad and everyone for Chinese New Year, and he's a really remarkable character. Like, I couldn't understand everything he was talking about because he has a very like poetic, high-level way of speaking, but I can tell you that the way that he speaks, it's riveting, and it's exactly what you would expect of someone who's a politician, charismatic, and he just has that presence and way of speaking that captures the attention of a crowd. So I'm really glad that I actually got to meet him at least once. Really remarkable human being. He's in his 80s right now, and he's still like super fit, super energetic, full of life. He hikes and climbs mountains as a hobby, which is something that I can't even do at age 30, so more power to him. Anyway, that's just a little personal anecdote in connection with the whole politician theme. So yeah, this color palette is probably the most neutral and wearable of all the palettes in the Honor of Kings collection. Let me just go ahead and swatch these for you. This one right here is called Grain, and it's like a shimmery beige color. This one, number 2, is Omega, my favorite type of taupey tan. This soft muted rosy brown down here is called Ho. Is that like an alternate spelling of Ho, H-O-E or something? I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean. These hoes be fake ballin', tax money that you won't last. Okay, and then finally number 4 down here is Night Divine, which is a gunmetal-y gray with a shiny silver sheen. And this is MAC's Velux Pearl formula, which I think is just a fancy name that MAC came up with to mask the fact that there's nothing really interesting about it. I will say right off the bat that I had a much better first impression of this palette than I did of the Li Bei palette. Turns out that Bei is not really Bei, as sad as that is. Trash. Yeah, and I think some of that definitely has to do with the fact that these colors are much more like neutral and wearable on an everyday basis. That's why for today, as you could probably tell from the thumbnail, I decided to go for a more simple look. I do think that the eyeshadow look that the girl was wearing in the promotional picture for this was really cool. That one actually featured the bluish gray Velux Pearl shade down here prominently, which I appreciate because I feel like the darkest shades in a lot of eyeshadow quads are usually the most underrepresented. I also think the artwork for this palette is more visible than the one for Bei. How come for Bei you can barely see him, but for Liang it's like so bright and vibrant? I wish that they would have been more consistent. But anyway, that's just a minor observation. So without further ado, let's roll the application footage.